In Canada, one of the many things you may not realize is that the police can act as undercover operatives, playing bank robbers, playing criminals, playing mafia connections, and pretend to someone who's under investigation that they're there to help them. And they can intimidate, coerce, and oppress people into making statements suitable for the prosecution, all of which, of course, are recorded to be used in evidence later. This practice was used, it's called the Mr. Big operation. They pretend to be big criminals themselves, and in that role they elicit statements from an accused, trying to please them to get into a criminal gang or organization. This apparently was the tactic used, according to what we understand, in the case of the 4 Mounties that were killed up at Meyerthorpe by one individual, and in order to incriminate 2 others, they used this tactic. It's something that elicited a guilty plea, I understand, but some guilty plea that is being challenged by the person who entered it as not being really voluntary. But it's just recently been used in another case in which I'm involved, and something that everyone who's under investigation has to realize is that what may pretend to be your friend is not. And it may be a policeman operating undercover with the objective of entrapping or oppressing or intimidating you into making statements that they want to hear. And they may use a variety of intimidation tactics and a variety of methods by which they would frighten you, basically, and encourage you to believe that it would be to your advantage to make a statement to them suitable to the prosecution. So anyone who's being under investigation, particularly for a crime in which there is a lot of publicity, police departments are reflective of public pressure these days, and politics is part of the prosecution. You have to remember that. And particularly when you are concerned about an issue that involves something you didn't do, and you want to try and impress others, the best thing is to remain silent and wait until you have your opportunity in court. Don't talk about it to anyone outside of court, or anyone before you are properly before the court. This applies to from the moment of your arrest. Do not speak about whatever you're accused of. Don't try and reason your way out of it. Don't try and argue with the policeman. Don't try and impress some strange person who comes to you with a weird story, and they're usually quite weird stories, about how they're interested in helping you. You can never be sure who you're dealing with. And in this day and age, the proper way to get a fair and reasonable trial is to save everything you have to say for the court, and only explain it to your lawyer in confidence and with solicitor-client privilege, and then and only then can you be sure that you'll get a fair hearing. Because again, like so many things, when you make a statement to someone and you don't realize you're making a statement to a policeman, it's their memory, not yours, that'll be believed. And it may not be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It might be just what's convenient to the prosecution, and you have to keep that in mind. So to preserve your rights, remain silent. It's one of the most precious rights you have. And by doing so, you may be able to get a fair hearing in court, where for the first time, a judge or a judge and jury will hear your evidence directly from you without distortion. That's the way to get a fair trial.